Hello, everyone. We're live. So another week, another session at Microsoft Fabric Cafe, another Fabric coffee session. My name is Naraz Abdullahi, the community lead and Microsoft Learn expert at Microsoft Fabric Cafe, the great community for all things Microsoft Fabric. So I'm going to just open the chat, and if you're joining, just say hi, and let's see who do we have and where you're connecting from, and let's just give some time to uh, everyone to join. I know we have people from around the world. Sorry. So, same as usual, I'm going to uh, just share my slides. Let's see what we have today and who we are. For those who are our community. So, today is session number 41 at August 9th at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Uh, so, we are a Microsoft Learn community, Microsoft Tech community, let's say. Uh, if we are a group or a learning room and a Microsoft Learn community, and that we are actually providing the learners with, some possibilities like these live sessions, and of course there are other learning rooms and groups that you can just join them using the link below. You can just uh, reach out your experts and your peers to share your knowledge. Here in Microsoft Fabric Cafe, with over now almost 5,000 members around the globe, and we are focusing on Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. We provide learning and support to Fabric users in all levels. We have weekly Fabric coffee sessions. We try to just dedicate to that, weekly sessions. Sometimes it happens that the speaker is not showing up, or something is wrong in my end, even as organizer, and so it happens that one session goes off like past week, but we try to just have this consistency. We provide learning and support to Fabric users in all levels, and it is a forum for everyone to learn, share, and grow skills together. Uh, in Microsoft Fabric Cafe, we have social channels to reach out, and of course you can subscribe to our YouTube channel with the handler of Microsoft Fabric Cafe, where we have all the past sessions and upcoming sessions. You can always rewatch them and ask your questions underneath of the video itself, or even in the LinkedIn page, where we basically announce our upcoming sessions and sharing the recording as well. There you can tag the speakers and just ask your questions if you have any. Mostly our speakers are on LinkedIn, right? And I can just 99.9% of our speakers can be reached out in on LinkedIn. So feel free to watch there as well. And we have two group in Microsoft community group and Microsoft Fabric community, which we recently moved in. We have those groups as well, those user groups, let's say, that you can start a discussion. You can just raise your question, or write in your blog, or whatever that you think can just help others to grow their skills, or even if you have any question, any issue with Microsoft Fabric, or whatever that is related to the data platform, you can just raise it there, ask your peers and experts to help you, or you can help others. And we also have the meetup group where we do the RSVPs, and for sure we're looking for the rating for those the live sessions that we have. So after this session, just make sure you're gonna rate this session. It is going to help a lot, and we know what we're doing. And on Reddit, we're not that active in Reddit, but let's see how it goes. So there's a code of conduct. When you you know just attend online sessions. Thank you very much for adhering to them. I'm not going to read all of them. Just please have a look at them. And for our past session with Juliana Smith, she walked us through the Primavera P6 reporting with Power BI, how it can be integrated to this project management tools, and so it is available on our YouTube channel. And for today, we have Brian Bønk with Real Time Hub. You know, uh, of course, his favorite and topic for real time intelligence and Microsoft Fabric. So I will invite him, soon in the stage. But for our next upcoming session, it will be on August 14 at 6 p.m. Pacific time, or August 15, 11 a.m. Australian time with Wahid. He's going to also talk about real-time intelligence. And with no wasting more time, I'm going to just invite Brian to the stage. Hello, Brian.
Hello. Great to be back.
Yeah, thank you very much for being back. Welcome back. It is, I think, the third session with Brian and Microsoft Fabric Cafe. Thank you very much. It is really appreciated for having you in our, community, and which adds lots, actually, more value actually to our community, and our learners also like your sessions. I can see that from social, when we read the comments and reviews even. We see how people like about your sessions, and loving about the real-time intelligence. Yeah, Brian, I was just telling you, in the backstage, I want to share with others as well. Wherever I hear about real-time intelligence, real-time analytics, KQL, your name is going to shine. And just remind me, that hey, Brian talks about real-time intelligence. If I have any question, just go to Brian. Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
indeed.
not going to keep the time more than this, guys. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. They will be answered by Brian. Wherever we can. I just can interrupt Brian, or we can leave them at the end of the session or in the between. But bear with us, and enjoy the session, guys. And here is your. Uh, Let me just make it a bit bigger, your screen. And yeah, guys, enjoy it. I will be in the backstage. And if you need anything, just give me a shout.
Thank you. Thank you, Medal, and thank you for the introduction. I'm really pleased to be back for the third consecutive time. It's always amazing to be live on your channel here. So, and you also have a broad audience. So, thank you.
That's
Thank you,
awesome.
Medal.
That's our pleasure. Right? Great.
Thank you.
Good luck.
A quick word about me. My name is Brian. I live in Denmark. I'm a data geek. I also ride a motorcycle. I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. I do a lot of blogging. I do a lot of awareness and attendance on LinkedIn. You can find my LinkedIn profile right there. I also have a blog, decode.bi. And if you want to snatch some of the slides from today, you are very, very welcome. They are open sourced. They are available on PDF on my GitHub. I also wrote a reference guide for the KQL query language. It's found on kql.how. I Today we're going to talk about Real-Time Hub and how it consolidates all your streaming information in one place inside Microsoft Fabric. But before we get to that, I have one, let me say, announcement to make. Over the past few months, Valerie Young and we have been writing a book about the Microsoft Fabric Analytics Engineer Associate Study Guide, also known as the DP600 certification exam. This is now in an early release, available from the O'Reilly author and publisher. You can find it on aka.bi/dp600. That will guide you directly to the O'Reilly website and the book. It is a raw and unedited version of the book, but it is already ready to read. And if I'm not mistaken, then there is already 2 chapters ready, and we have handed over the next couple of chapters, and they are in the edit. So they will also be made available within the next few weeks. I hope you will take this book as it is, because it is not right now raw and unedited. The editor has not yet changed the wordings and the flow of the book, so it might change and will change before the public release. Go ahead and read it. It's now public and very, very early release, so it's up to you, and I hope you will enjoy it. For the session for today about real-time intelligence, I want to talk about what is streaming data inside Microsoft Fabric. Then next up, I will talk about the real-time hub, of course, what it is, what kind of whereabouts can we expect from it, and last but not least, a demonstration, because no session from me without a live demonstration on the actual portal, and that will also go on today. Hopefully, I won't see any demo ghosts. Lastly, the last session on this Fabric Cafe, I saw a tiny demo ghost coming in and showing its face, so I could not do the entire demo session of that session. So I hope that will flow as it should today. So first of all, let's talk about streaming data in Microsoft Fabric. Streaming data in Microsoft Fabric is being expanded all the time. The expansion is around connectivity, because the underlying engine, I'll talk about that later, is quite powerful. It can do what it should, but the connectivity must always expand, because we always get new sources of streaming data out in the world. I've attached some of the sources here. I have 9 of them: Confluent, Google, Apache, Kafka, IoT devices, Google PubSub, and all that kind of stuff. Those are all sources that you can listen to, and then you can ingest those data into Microsoft Fabric using streaming analytics jobs. This is not a full list, because if I should bring on the full list, it will be a 2 slides with icons only on it. So it is a lot, and it is always expanding. And streaming data is actually data coming from any streaming device. It could be logs, it could be telemetry, it could also be events happening on your Fabric tenant. Those are also streaming data. But we have the sources. We also have all the services inside Microsoft Fabric. We have ability to process the data. We have ability to analyze it. The processing is being handled by event streams. The analyzing is being handled by the event house. The monitoring capabilities in Fabric is handled by the real-time dashboards. And last but not least, the act part of the processes is being handled by the activator items, where we can define rules and act on the events coming in on your data. In the middle, we have the real-time hub. The real-time hub sits in between the sources and the destinations and acts like a relay of data coming in. It also acts as a consolidator of all the items that you have around streaming data. It could be event streams, it could be KQL database, it could be tables, it can also be streams within a stream. I'll show you that in just a minute. And it can also be real-time dashboards. So all of this consolidated in one service is called the real-time hub. And no slide on Fabric without just to mention that the AI is all around us. The Fabric Copilot is a part of the real-time suite in Microsoft Fabric. It is not yet as implemented in the real-time hub as I would expect it to be. But let's see further down the road on the announcement from Microsoft what happens there. I don't know, but I'm just hoping that we will see some news on the Fabric Copilot to help us understand what's happening inside the real-time hub, and can Copilot actually read that data and present that to me as I need it. Oh, and I see a notification on the chat from Amsterdam. Well, welcome to the session, and always a pleasure. If you have any comments or questions during this session, just please write them in the chat, and I will make a look at the chat messages going on. So if you have any questions, just please put them in the chat, and I will happily answer them as we go along. And even though I see that you said you joined a bit early, that's quite fine. We didn't go that far in the session yet, so you're quite welcome. The real-time hub consists of three things. First of all, we have the streams, where we can see all the streams that we have coming into Fabric, and all the streams inside Microsoft Fabric that are handling data for us. We also have the ability to connect to new sources, where we can connect to sources inside Microsoft Fabric. We can connect to sources in our Azure tenant. We can also connect to sources outside of Microsoft Fabric. Last but not least, we can subscribe to events. We can subscribe to events inside Microsoft Fabric. We can subscribe to events in an Azure Blob Storage, and so forth, so forth. The streams inside Microsoft Fabric contains of all data streams that you have access to, because the real-time hub is, as we see in all facets of Microsoft Fabric, is that the end users have, the platform has a strict security policy for all end users. You can only see the items you have access to. It could be items in workspaces you have access to. It can also be items that you have explicit access to, where you don't have access to the actual workspace. Those items are listed in the real-time hub as either as a data stream or as a table if it is a streaming-enabled data source. The connect to, we can connect to everything inside Microsoft Fabric that we have access to, or we can create a new service. We can also connect to services inside Azure, outside of Microsoft, but in Azure. It could be a SQL Server with a change data capture enabled. Then we can begin to listen to all the changes in that database and have that streamed into an event stream and process that as we need, as the business needs are. We can subscribe to events. We can subscribe to events inside the Fabric tenant. It could be that people are creating a new item. It could be that people are creating a new workspace, that people are deleting items, that people are trying to read items that they don't have access to. All of those are events that we can subscribe to in Fabric, and then we can begin to listen to and act on them if we need to. We can do the same thing in Azure. Right now, it's more or less only in Azure Blob Storage, where we can listen to what's happening in the Blob Storage. Is a new file being added? Is a new file being renamed? Is a file having its data access changed from hot to cold or to archive, and so forth and so forth. So we can listen to all those events being emitted from the service, and then we can handle those messages directly inside the real-time hub. Without further ado, this is perhaps the sixth fastest slides that I have in any session, because the rest of this session will be demo-wise, and let's see where we end up during the demo, because hopefully no demo ghost will appear today. Let me drop in my Fabric tenant. It is right here, and let me maximize it. If you can't find the real-time hub, then you are not the first. Because the real-time hub is perhaps a bit, it's not misplaced at all, but normally you will just search for real-time hub, but you can't find real-time hub in Microsoft Fabric because it is not named real-time hub. It is only named real-time. If I look at the left part of the main menu, I have the real-time hub right there. It's just named real-time, not real-time hub. So that's where it is. Right now, I'm in the Fabric experience of Microsoft Fabric. If I change to the Power BI experience, you will see that it is still on the left-hand side, but a bit down compared to the Fabric experience. But let me hop back to the Fabric experience and go into the Real-Time Hub. The first thing I see on Real-Time Hub on the left-hand side is the ability to begin to do something. Do I want to connect to, or do I want to subscribe to something? The first thing right there is actually just an overview inside the Real-Time Hub. This is where we are. I'll run down those details in just a few seconds. The next couple of things are the connect to and the subscribe to that I just mentioned on the slides, where we can connect to sources and we can also subscribe to events happening inside Microsoft Fabric or in Azure. At the top hand part of the page, we now have access to quick actions inside Real-Time Hub. We can begin to, I lost my mouse. It's there. We can begin to subscribe to Microsoft events. This is actually the same thing as we just had right there. We can act on job events. That is more or less the same thing as we have there. We can visualize the data. This is the real-time dashboards. This is where we are being guided directly to create a real-time dashboard. Or we can begin to preview data and verify the quality and shape of data and spot trends. This is where we are guided directly to a table or an event house inside Microsoft Fabric. We have more options. If we go to the right, we can connect to default data sets. I just jumped one because this was also shown on the first screen. But the rest is, the rest of the items are these. Oops, I did it again. The rest of the items are these ones. First of all, we can connect to weather data. Weather data is a standardized streaming weather data that Microsoft has made an agreement with. I can't remember the name, but they are streaming data into Microsoft Fabric if you want them. So you can just connect to that stream, and then the weather data will come in live as you want them inside Microsoft Fabric. You also have directly links to tutorials. This is just handing you over to Microsoft Learn. And you can read case studies on how, in this case, Elcom has used real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric to utilize their way of working. Let's jump into what the real-time hub actually is. At the main part of the page, this area, we see that we now have a list of items coming in. These items are the items that I have access to. I'm an admin on this Fabric tenant, so I have access to everything. And you will see that I have different icons. This is a stream and this is a table. So in the Real-Time Hub, I can actually see items on the lowest item level. So I have a stream and I also have tables. I can't see my databases and I can't see my event houses because those are not a data-bearing, data-heavy item. It doesn't contain any data. It only contains a structure around another item that contains all your data. That's why I can't see my databases and my event houses. But what I can see is the group of items that contains something. So in the second hand, I can actually see that, hey, I have actually a monitoring KQL database right there, which contains this table. So I have access to see the groupings of elements, but the main elements that I have access to are only the data holding items in Microsoft Fabric. I can see the item owner right here, and I can also see the workspace where this item is stored. Last but not least, I can see both the endorsement and the sensitivity if it is applied. I don't have any endorsement or sensitivity because governance is not my thing. Then you need to go to other people in the community to hear about governance. If I want to dive into an item, then directly from the Real-Time Hub, I have different options. If I hover one of the items, I can either preview the data from this event stream, I can open the event stream directly, or I can click the three-dot menu, and then I have the same options plus the endorse option to actually endorse this item if I want to. But let me see if I go into preview the data. This is a demo data stream that picks up stock data live from the stock market, and it's Saturday today, so no stock exchange is being handled, so I don't get any data. Perhaps you'll see this on a non-Saturday, and you'll see it after it has been recorded, and you might expect that, hey, today is a normal stock exchange day, so why don't I see data? That's because this is pre-recorded. But now we're live, and today is Saturday, and we don't see any data. But I cheated a bit, and I already made sure that I had some data that we can work on later on. I can filter this on the 24 hours, 7 days, and so on and so forth. And I can also directly open the event stream from this view. Now I'm being guided directly to the event stream. This is just a demo event stream picking up data from the stock market. This is this source. It is inactive because I don't want to consume all my capacity. Then in the middle, I have the data processor. This is the actual engine handling my data input. And in the destination, I have my event house. At the bottom here, you can, oops, sorry, I want to grab this one. At the bottom of the screen, you can see a demo data set, a data preview of that data coming into the event house. I see the columns, I see some of the rows, and I can also see the content of those rows. On the data insights pane, I can begin to see, as this is not running, I should be able to see it, but I can see all the inputs, all the outputs, what is happening with my data, and how fast is the throughput coming in. If I have any problems with my event stream, the runtime logs right there is actually a good place to start, because these logs are quite extensive, and I can begin to see what's happening in my event stream. Do I have any error? Do I have a connectivity error, an authorization error, network error, something? You can see that in the runtime logs if you have any one of them. If I go back to the real-time hub right there, then directly from this hub, I can also open the event stream and begin to work with it if I want to. If I want to work with a table or a data set inside the real-time hub, well, I also have access to those. I have access to all the tables. And if I want to find the tables and only have the tables in the filter pane at the top of the real-time hub, I can filter on both data type, owner, item, and workspace. And those are hopefully more or less self-explanatory. So if I select the tables here, I can only see the tables that I want to. I have quite a lot of tables because I do a lot of things in real-time intelligence, Microsoft Fabric. But let's, for the fun of it, look into the weather table. I hope this has loaded data, and I hope it will open. It should open. There you go. When I open this item from the real-time hub, what I see is not the actual data, but it is a metadata description and a description of what does this item contain and where is it actually being stored. First of all, I see that it is a child of this parent, the DB600 event house. I'm using this event house to do some of the content for the book I just mentioned. And I can also see the columns of this table with the data types as tiny icons, text, numbers, and I can see the insights of ingestion. The last ingestion was in July 19 because I just played around with the weather data, and at that point in time, I got roughly around 60,000 rows. I can now open the KQL database directly if it wants to open. And while it does so, let me go back to the real-time hub and click the item once again, because at the top of the item, I have shortcuts to explore the data, open the KQL database, endorse it, or directly from the real-time hub, create a real-time dashboard based on this table. So wherever you are in the real-time hub, it's only a matter of a few clicks, and then you are ready to begin to create your items or work with them or get insights directly from them. If I click the explore the data, then I'm not being guided directly to the event house, but I'm being guided to a modal window of that data. And right now I get around 10 or 15 rows, no, 10 rows. And if I want to change that, well, I have options just to change this behind the scenes query. This is KQL. Let me see if I can zoom in just a tiny bit so you can see it. This is the KQL statement behind that result that you just saw. So if I want more rows, I could just, I can't edit it in the, so I want to add a filter, and I only want, hang on. Perhaps I want a count of rows. So this could be count rows, apply. Then if I go back to the result, you will see that I have just around 60,000 rows, as I just saw on the real-time hub. If I want to take to get all of the data, then I can just delete this default filter, and I get all the data rows from this data set. Now I begin to get insights on this data, because on the right-hand side, I begin to see the peaks in the items coming in, and I also begin to, and I can now begin to say, hey, what are the peaks? Why are they there? Is there something I should be aware of? And so on and so forth. And I can also add a visualization to this. So I can directly from this, I haven't touched this with a KQL statement yet. I'm only used my mouse. I can begin to do a line chart. But I have a problem now, because any visualization in the web, in the web experience in Microsoft Fabric can only handle, it is recommended only to handle 50,000 rows. I have way more than 50,000 rows here. I have 60,000 rows. So I have two options. I can either bypass the limit or disable the limits completely. If I bypass this limit, it is only being done once. If I disable it, it will be done for this entire session. But let me just show you this in another way on how I can visualize the data in a KQL query set directly. So from the top, I now have access to an edit in a KQL query set, and the KQL query set is just a placeholder for some KQL code. So let me say this as the weather demo. Great. Okay, it should be, because I'm the admin, but no further ado, let me just create a KQL query. Oops, I can spell. KQL query set, weather demo, create. Add a data source, and then I want to add the event house that I just connected to. And you should see here that I have the weather table right here. This would be where I would end up if the UI worked and didn't throw that ghosty error at me just before. So now I have the ability to begin to write my KQL queries, and this is now the result set based on the KQL query. We don't have time to run through how do I write a KQL query. Just trust me that this is the way to write them. If you want to know and learn more about writing KQL queries, go to kql.how, this website, and you will find a reference guide to help you get started on writing KQL, the KQL script. Perfect. I can also begin to visualize this. As I promised, I would, hey, let's visualize this in a line chart so we can see all the peaks on the weather. So let's take, we have a limit of 50,000. So let me take just 30,000 and then render this as a line chart. Let's see what happens. It should take just a few seconds because the rendering is actually being done inside the browser for you. There is no application behind the scene that does all the rendering. Oh, I have a lot of rows here. So let me just narrow this one down to 300. And let me try it again. Okay. I think I have a memory leak somewhere. 10 rows. But now I have a line chart, but I actually don't have a line chart because it looks funny. So let's see what we can do about this. We just take 10 rows, then say I only want the state of New York. So where state equals New, let me write it correctly, New York. Now I only have the New York data. Let me say I only want the high wind, and event type equals high wind. Now I only have New York and I will have high wind. And I only want the start time. Perhaps I want the wind. Where's the wind? I should see wind somewhere. I should measure. Let me just take the damage property. Damage property. So now I'm limiting my data set to have only the columns that I need to do my visualization. Now I should be able to, let me just take 1,000 rows. And let me take where damage, if I could spell, damage property is larger than 0. Now I have data coming back to me as I need to. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, so I can begin to perhaps put in a bit more data here. So let me remove this one and let's see what happens. There you go. Now we have data that looks like we can begin to render it. I have a question from Mirdat. Is KQL case sensitive? Yes, it is. It is case sensitive and it can also be case insensitive. It depends on how you do your statements. The statements I can surely just write project here, but that won't work because you see it gets these squiggly lines. So all the functions must be in a case sensitive way, and all the columns must also be in case sensitive way when you reference a column. But when you reference a search operator like this, where event type equals high wind, this is one way to do it. I can also do it with a, what do you call this one? This character, a tilde. Then if I can't spell high wind, if I write it like this one, it does the case insensitive search. But if I write it like this, then I don't get any data because now it's case sensitive and high wind is not spelled high wind with capital HIGH. So I need to spell it like this. The reason I can search for case insensitive is if I don't know the spelling, or the spelling is not as a high quality as I could expect, then I can use the tilde and then I get a case insensitive search. It is way faster to do a case sensitive search because then it doesn't have to do all the data transformation for you behind the scenes. So is KQL case sensitive? Both yes and no. For functions and query sets and selections and column references, it is case sensitive. For content in the columns, it can both be case sensitive and case insensitive. Okay, perfect. Another question. What if I have a very large data set, like 1 terabyte or more, while there are only rows and columns? Will it be a problem while streaming it in Lakehouse from Fabric? Okay. You also said the limit is 5,000 rows, which is the default for visualization. Yes. I think this is a 2-question part. So, will it be a problem for streaming it to a Lakehouse from Fabric? Not at all. Because you don't say how large that data set is in time. Is it 1 terabyte per second? Is it a terabyte per month, per week, per day? But let's just say it's a terabyte per day. That is quite easily handleable by Microsoft Fabric. You will pay for it in your Fabric capacity consumption, of course. but it is truly done and feasible to be done inside Microsoft Fabric. So can I handle 1 terabyte of data inside streaming from the event house to a lakehouse? Sure, by all means. But you don't have to stream it to a lakehouse. You can actually stream it to the event house and then enable the one lake availability on the event house to copy that out to a lakehouse. Let me show you that, and we have time. If I go back to my, this is my event house. If you look at the right-hand side, there's a one lake availability option to enable. I've already enabled this one. So all the tables in my event house has a live copy on a lake house inside Microsoft Fabric. So when I stream the data to an event house, that streaming data is being handled, processed, translated into a Delta Parquet file, and handed over to the lakehouse in one lake to be able to be browsed and queried wherever you are inside Microsoft Fabric. So I would go this way, because when you're handling streaming data, it is way more effective to handle the streaming data inside an event house rather than handling it in a lakehouse to do data transformation afterwards. Of course, based on your business needs. But the rule of thumb is start in the event house when you're done with your data wrangling and you want it to be available in a lakehouse. Enable the one lake availability, and then you have the tables in your lakehouse without doing anything else. It's a zero ETL process. You just enable this, and then Microsoft handles all the streams for you. Good questions. Keep them coming. The limit of 50,000 rows in a visualization is the last part of your question. That is a limitation inside your browser, because your browser is doing the rendering for you based on the data set that you have in the query set. Let me show you that. Let me take this data set. Now I have 566 records. This is easily renderable in a browser, but the rendering is happening on your browser, so that it is the browser's limitation that Microsoft helps you understand. I can surely break that 50,000 rows limitation, but then you will have a browser on a dead loop that you can't connect to and doesn't react until it is done rendering. And Microsoft Windows doesn't allow the browsers to have that much memory, and by default the browser doesn't have much memory because it doesn't need so. So the default 50,000 rows is not a hard limit. It's just a, hey, be aware, if you want to bypass 50,000 rows, you can do that, but then your browser will hang for a few minutes until it is done rendering. It's just the way it is. So I don't have to take only 1,000 rows, but I can now render this as a line chart. And there you go. Now I have peaks. I can see I have a peak on January 7, 2027, and I also have a huge peak on, if I can hit it, there you go, on December 2nd, 2007. Now I can begin to analyze this if I want to, using the built-in capabilities inside the real-time hub or the Kigwell database. Back to the real-time hub. This was the items that I have access to, but we can also create new items and begin to ingest data inside the real-time hub. I have access to connect to data sources, and this is quite extensive. This is quite a long list of data sources that I can connect to. Some of them are currently in preview. I guess they are no longer in preview. That's perfect. And some of them are actually sample scenarios. They look like a small gift, a gift package for you. Sample scenarios. This is where I can begin to, if I don't have any streaming data in my organization or my tenant that I'm working on, and I would like to try out real-time intelligence or streaming data, then I can connect to Bicycle, I connect to Stock Market, and I can also connect to Yellow Taxi data set. What you need to know is that this list is being built on by Microsoft continuously. So we will see new sources coming in all the time. All the time, not as every day, but we will see new items coming in as sources to be able to connect to down the road. What is also a very interesting thing is that from the data sources, I can also connect to Azure sources. Then I get a different list. The Azure source, if you want to load, it typically doesn't do that. But let me just talk about it while it loads, and then hopefully it will work. The Azure sources are the sources outside of Microsoft Fabric that I, as an end user, have access to. if this was to load and it would show the items, then it would show me a SQL database with a change data capture enabled, and I can connect to that, and then I can begin to listen to what's happening on that database, and I can ingest those data using an event stream and process that inside an event house directly from the real-time hub. I don't know why this doesn't work. Let me try it again. Perhaps a hard load, hard reload, real-time hub, Azure sources. I don't know. There's an error. The demo ghost is here, but just trust me, I would have seen an Azure database, Azure SQL Server that I could connect to, and then I could stream that the change data capture stream from that server to the event stream. Last but not least, I can listen to events happening inside Microsoft Fabric. These are in threefold. I can either select listen to job events. Job events are when an event starts, when it finishes, when it has an error, when it does something else, but when it changes the state, then I can begin to act on that event. So if a job fails, I can send the IT department the Teams message saying, hey, the job failed. If the job succeeds and it ran longer than, I don't know, 5 hours, then I could also get a message, or I could start it on the notebook to try to optimize it or do something else. That's the job events. I can also listen to one-leg events. One-leg events is what's happening in one-leg. Is a file being added? Is a table being added? Is rows being added to a table? What's happening in one-leg? Whatever is happening in one-leg, I can listen to those items also. Sorry, to those events also, and then begin to react to them. It could be whenever a file is being added to a one-leg, start this pipeline. Last but not least, I can listen to workspace item events. What happens inside my workspace? Are people creating items? Are they deleting items? Are they accessing items they don't have access to? Are they renaming items? What's happening with my items inside my workspace? If an item is being added and it doesn't have the correct naming convention, I could start a process to send a mail to the IT governance department saying, hey, someone created a Fabric item with the wrong naming convention. Please do something about it, just to give you an example. Azure events right now, we only have, not only, but it has one item. I can listen to Azure Blob Storage events. Azure Blob Storage events are the same as in OneLake, because OneLake is Azure Blob Storage. I can listen to events from the blob storage, so a new file, a new folder, file deleted, all that kind of stuff. So Medad, you say, would you mind comparing connect versus subscribe? Sure. When I connect to a data source, I'm ingesting the sources directly from that. Sorry, I'm ingesting the data directly from that source. When I'm subscribing to, then I'm subscribing to an event. So when an event on that source is happening, then I listen to that event. I don't listen to the data happening on that item, but I listen to the event happening on that item. So new rows added. Hey, there's a new row added. Not what the row is, just this is the message. I got 100 new rows. Do something. Whereas if I connect to it, then I get the 100 rows. So connect to, that's the data. Subscribe to, that's the event. I hope that makes sense. Let me just try Azure sources one more time. I should be able to find it. For some reason, it can't find anything. Okay, that's fine. Normally, I would see my Azure database right here. For the Fabric events, when I subscribe to either through the Azure events on the blob storage or through the Fabric events, when I want to do something, then whatever I want to do is actually that starts the process of creating an event stream that which listens to these events. The event stream creation, the subscribe to experience from the end user is a help from Microsoft to get you to create an event stream with the correct settings and connections and all that kind of stuff. So now I just selected the Fabric job events, and you can see here, I can see when an item job is created, when the status has changed, when it's succeeded, and when it's failed. These are the events I can listen to. And then whenever a job is doing something, then I can do a selection by item. I can select it by workspace. I can also find the workspace. It could be, I don't know, a notebook. And I can begin to set a filter. These filters are on all the fields that I have in the specific item. If I chose a different item, I would have a different field set. These are the fields that I have on a notebook: source, subject, type, time, blah, 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 blah. Based on these, I can begin to filter them. So it could be, I don't know, let me say type should be not null, something. Now I have a filter. So only events happening on the jobs where the type is not null, then I can begin to do something. And connect. Now I'm creating the event stream with a few clicks with the mouse, and I only did the filtering. I did a filter that doesn't give me any data because I don't want this to actually happen, because I don't want to consume a lot of my fabric capacity. Normally this takes a few seconds, and we're still waiting. Come on. While we're waiting, let me open another one and show you, we are still in Fabric, and show you that inside my workspace, I now have a new event stream called Job Events Event Stream. This Job Events Event Stream, I should be able to open this now, actually, because behind the scenes it should be done, but it doesn't show. Yeah, there you go. Now I have the new source as this is the source listening for all the jobs happening on this workspace. What unfortunately, if I go into the edit mode, when I edit this, I can change the name saying job events. I can spell job events, and it mustn't have names. There you go. Oops. Job events. The reason I can't have spaces here is because of the underlying service handling this signal for me doesn't accept spaces in the names. I can now also change the item types, and I can change the filters if I want to. Now I have the job events, and if I just want the job events to be stored in a table, I can add them directly to an event house right here. Then just direct ingestion in the event house, in the Kaggle database, and save. And then when I publish this, eventually this will begin to stream all my job events into a table, and then I'm good to go. This is now done, and I can finish, and I would be able to go back to my workspace and find the event stream I just showed you. This experience is the same I would get if I did one leg event. I would just get a different set of events I could listen to, and the same for workspace item events, and also the same for item blob storage events. So the real-time hub, to sum it all up, is a list of items that I have access to that I can interact with, I can get analytics out of, I can see streams, I can connect to new data sets and get the underlying data happening on those data sources. And I can also subscribe to events happening, not the data on the sources, but the metadata around those events. Hey, I got 100 new rows. Here's the signal, 100 new rows. Not the data, but the message is just, I got 100 new rows. Do something about it. That was the demo, and my time is almost up. I have a few minutes left, and I also want to give Medad a few minutes to round this one up. So I would, first of all, like to say a huge thank you for your questions and for your attendance. I really like it. And again, if you want to snatch some of the slides, you are quite fine to do it. They are already available on GitHub, github.com/BrianBønk. That's my handle. You can get them there. You can meet me on LinkedIn. You can meet me on my blog. And if you want to learn the Kaggle language, go to kaggle.how. Then you can learn from there. Or reach out to me, and I can gladly help you to get started. Thank you, Medad.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brian. As always, it's a pleasure to have you in our cafe, and with explaining everything in detail and very smooth. So guys, if you have any question, please feel free to add it into the chat. If not, I actually I had the question. I forgot to. I didn't want actually to bother you while you're presenting, and I tried to just write them in the chats, but the last one just I forgot.
Okay.
Uh, just one thing. You know, we have connect to and subscribe to, right? For
Yes.
subscribe to, it is listening to the events that are happening in those sources, like Azure sources or Fabric sources.
Yes.
But when we are talking about connect to, let's say we have a stock market or something that is the data is exposed as an API,
Yes.
right? So how often the event stream is going to just hit that API? Is there any schedule or trigger? For example, let's say we have an API endpoint that is listing the latest price for stock or something like that. How often it is going to just look at that data, or can we customize it to have shorter intervals? Because it is not going to be real time. It is going to be near real time for sure for when we are connecting to the data sources like this. How
Sure.
do you describe?
Good
Actually,
question.
explain.
Right now, we don't have a capability to read APIs that doesn't do a push. We can only listen to data that is being pushed from a source. We can't listen to an API where you need to ping that API to get the data. Not yet. It is a huge ask from both the community and the clients at Microsoft. Hey, we want access to an API that we can just ping every, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, every something. We can't do that yet, so we need a man in the middle. It could be an Azure function that just pings it and then emits that data to the event stream. An Azure function is easy to do. It's a few lines of code, and then you can ping that API. The JSON object return from that API or whatever object you get, you can send that forward to the underlying event grid, and then the event grid is handing that data over to the event stream. That is quite possible. You can also do it with a notebook or something, but you need something in the middle right now in order for the API to be extracted. If you have an API that does a push of data, so it could be a webhook that does a push of data, then you can surely connect to that webhook and then get the data out that is happening. But then we don't have a schedule because the event stream is just accepting the data coming in. It is actually unscheduled because it is running all the time. It just accepts the data coming in. It is a difficult mindset than doing bulk ingestion from a SQL server where you just get the last, I don't know, 1 hour of data.
Yeah.
We get one hour of data in a pipeline, then we can handle that in a notebook, something. But a streaming event is just waiting for data to be sent to them to it, and then it handles the data when it approaches it and when it is being handed over. It is a process that is always live, but you in Fabric you pay for the messages and you pay for the incoming messages. You pay for the transactions that you're doing, and you also pay for the connection.
Yeah.
It is not much you pay for them, but you pay something for everything that you do inside Fabric. And to answer your question, we can't yet connect to an API and ask, hey, I want data every 2 seconds or 5 minutes or something. Not yet. We need
So
like
I mean
something
that
in the middle.
yeah, thank you for making it clear. So basically, the APIs should push the data into Microsoft Fabric event
Yes.
stream, and how that API should be configured then. What is the destination of that? I actually, I'm curious to just learn more about this, but I know it is going to be a separate session for sure. But in short, can you just
Sure.
make it a bit clear
Sure, sure,
for us
sure.
how
Um,
this webhook is going to push the data? Let's say it is going to be, set up somewhere to push that data. But
mhm,
do we need a trigger or something behind the scene that is pushing that data into Fabric every single second or whatever?
mhm.
And how that destination in fabric is going to be set up?
Sure. For every event stream you are creating in Fabric, you have the ability to expose the underlying event grid, because an event stream in Microsoft Fabric contains of, let me, for the ease of telling, just say two elements. It contains an event grid and it contains an Azure Streaming Analytics job. Then Microsoft puts a beautiful UI on top of that, and then you have an event stream. The event grid or the event hub is just an underlying event service in Azure that you can't access, but you can expose that endpoint with a token and an access point, a password, and then the API or the webhook or web app, whatever you are doing, pushing that data, just needs those three things: the connection, the name, and the token, and then it is authorized to send that data onwards. Whatever you're doing inside the event stream, you are filtering, you are grouping, you are aggregating, you are doing something with that data. That is defining an Azure Streaming Analytics web job. Azure Streaming Analytics job. Handing that over to the underlying Azure Streaming Analytics service and doing the processing for you. When that processing is done, the ASA, Azure Streaming Analytics, hands that data set over to the destination you have defined. So an event stream is just very, very easy told. Two underlying items: an event hub and an Azure Streaming Analytics web job that accepts the data. That's the event hub, and then the event hub sends that data to the Azure Streaming Analytics, and then it does the processing for you and hands that over to the destination you have defined. Microsoft just puts a beautiful UI on top, and then you can develop all of this with your mouse and a few clicks on your keyboard. So
I see. So, awesome.
I see a nice general question, a rather fun one.
Yeah.
What are you doing to draw rectangles and arrows? I use a tool called Zoomit. Perhaps, Meta, you need to write that in the chat. It's called Zoomit, Zoomit. Zoomit. It is a tiny software application you can download from Microsoft. Just search for Zoomit, and then you have Control 1 that zooms your screen. Control 2 enables you to draw, and when you enable the drawing, you can click Control and hold that in. Then you can draw a box, and Control Shift you draw an arrow, and so forth and so forth. Just Zoomit. Search for that on Google, and you will find it. Zoomit is also a part of the application called PowerToys, which you can add to Microsoft Windows. In PowerToys version something a few months ago, they added Zoomit as an underlying software application in that tool set. So either Zoomit if you only want Zoomit, or if you want to do some quite nifty stuff in Microsoft Windows, use PowerToys. Download that one. You can find it on Microsoft Store, I guess, and then you get Zoomit out of the box.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all the knowledge about presentation.
Sure. Always have a topic.
So I'm gonna just share my screen quickly. So our session with Brian is almost done. It will be available immediately on our YouTube channel. For sure, you can rewatch it and also watch the other sessions that we had. And for our next session on this coming week, August 14 in Pacific time at 6 p.m. or August 15 in Australia time with Vahid about also real-time intelligence. And thanks for attending the session. Stay tuned with our socials. We just walked through all of them in our Microsoft communities, meetup group. Just don't forget to rate today's session. And thank you very much for joining, guys. Just the last thing that I want to chat about is just ask questions. When you ask a question, it is going to be more maybe insightful session when we hear from your opinion. So Nishan, really it is appreciated. Ask the questions and it is going to be answered by Brian and our other speakers. So it is really important to have the questions in the chat, in the live sessions. It is going to have, a better maybe impact to the all community. Maybe it is, don't feel a question is a silly or something like that, but it is always, it might be others question as well, that they don't know how to write it or how to just propose that question. Yeah, the new question from Nishan. I noticed there
Oh, there
was
was a
an
question.
error in the
Max
line.
points
Okay.
exceeded. That was the limitation of the browser. The browser can only handle a certain amount of memory, and the browser is doing the rendering for you. So it comes with not an error, but more of an alert saying, "Hey, you have too many data points. Do you really want to visualize this chart, because it will consume a lot of memory on your laptop? If you want to do that, then you will have a browser being dead for a few minutes, and then you're done." So
And it is not related to the fabric capacity. It is mostly on the browser.
it is a browser problem or an issue or limitation. Yeah.
However, 50,000, more than 50,000 record and show
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
not going to work for sure
No, exactly.
for an analytic.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, thanks. Yeah, awesome session. Thank you, Brian and Mehmet, once again.
Sure.
Thank you
Always a
for
pleasure.
joining. So, if you have anything to add, Brian, feel free. If not, we can just wish everyone a great weekend. And thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye bye.